The mid-90s saw a real big resurgence of the country western genre all over the board when it comes to pop culture. In music, Garth Brooks, Reba McEntire, Trisha Yearwood, The Judge, John Michael Montgomery, George Strait, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, they became superstars during this time period. In movies, there was the big three: Tombstone, Maverick, Wyatt Earp. These movies were huge and did great numbers at the box office. And in pop culture, when it comes to dancing, everybody wanted to do a little two-step every now and again because square dancing got really big again. So when it comes to television, country westerns, well, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman was a runaway smash for CBS, and so was Walker, Texas Ranger in 1994. And on the subject of 1994, game shows were not popular anymore. I mean, you still had your Star Wars like Wheel, Jeopardy, and The Price is Right, but all the other game shows were simply cable game shows like Supermarket Sweep, Shop Till You Drop, and a couple others. Oh, Legends in the Temple as well. I bring that up because broadcast TV game shows were dying, namely American Gladiators. And on that subject, let's talk about a Gladiators ripoff. You know how much I love talking about ripoffs, but what if it's a ripoff done right? Taking all of the current popular trends in country western and make a new show out of it. Couldn't go wrong. Well, could it go wrong? Let's talk about Wild West Showdown. Wild West Showdown debuted in October of 1994, being syndicated weekly by the Samuel Goldwyn Company and 4 Point Entertainment. In this series, 3 contestants head on down to the fictional town of Broken Neck. There, they compete in a variety of western-themed stunts against the band of outlaws and each other worth various amounts of prize money. The one with the most money at the end wins and runs the final showdown for a shot at $5,000 Union, as Alex Cord points out. On paper, this sounds like a fantastic concept for the time, being an Old West shootout and bar fight cleaning up the town of varmints and dangerous criminals. So here's the question. How was the execution of it? It sounds great, but can they follow through? Well, let's talk about the main players. And first of all, we got to talk about a guy by the name of West.
Lincoln County made Pat Garrett sheriff to bring in Billy the Kid. In Broken Neck, they make you sheriff for target practice. You see, this here's the town from hell, and a lawbreaker's heaven. Plenty who come here meet their maker.
The main stalwart of the show is West, played by Alex Cord. Cord has a history of starring in westerns on both television and films, with his biggest role being the Ringo Kid in the 1966 remake of Stagecoach. That western experience made him perfect for the show, as all of his mannerisms and commentary during the show were a perfect fit. He also is the perfect setup man for all of the events that take place and gives it the gravitas that it needs. There's nothing more that needs to be said about Alex Cord. He is just awesome in this role, and especially in Airwolf. Another person to help add to the illusion that this is a western is K.C. Clark, the reporter for the Broken Neck Gazette. She is played by Lisa Coles, who we know now as Lisa Guerrero. She fills the role of interviewer in between events with a little pad and pencil and getting all the scoops as a reporter at the time would do. And she does it quite well. For evidence on how well she does at it, she'll do the same thing for Fox Sports and Inside Edition later on in her career. So far so good, as both Alex Cord and Lisa Guerrero do their jobs quite well. But now we kinda veer into very bad territory. Now, the B-roll that you're seeing for a lot of this video, I got from an anonymous source, and let's just say Alex Cord was doing the commentary. But while doing research, I did find video of another person doing commentary for Wild West Showdown. Let's talk about Joe Fowler.
For Knights and Warriors!
You're looking at the Warrior Dome, home field and battleground for our next preliminary round one competition of Knights and Warriors. Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Joe Fowler. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, I'll be calling the action throughout today's telecast as we take you back to the games of King Arthur's court, and he would be so very proud of these games.
Pardon for using the Knights and Warriors intro, but it's because Joe Fowler never showed his face on the show. But Joe Fowler would wind up doing commentary during the events on Wild West Showdown. If there ever was someone to take you out of the amazing atmosphere of the show, it was him and his overbearing commentary. Just for example, let me show you Joe's commentary in the Water Tower event compared to Alex Cord's.
Chance has her again. Look at that fight. This time I don't think she's going to let go. You hear him? She's got her in a bear hug. If Susie's going to get to the top, she's going to have to take Chance with her. Not going to happen. As the water streams down the tower, let's look at the replay one more time. You will see that Susie went about 50 feet. Only problem is she went horizontal and not vertical.
Kid grabs Chris's legs and pulls hard. Chris tries to hold on, tries hard. Kid gets him by the gun belt and pulls him off the tower. There goes the tower. We won't be patching that leak with a bit of chaw.
Not only that, his overbearing nature helped make quite a few things unbearable to watch in the early to mid-90s. Everything he touched would be bad. His commentary on the aforementioned Knights and Warriors, and let's be honest, that entire show was crap. He would parlay that into a 10-week roll with the WWF in 1993. He would host All-American Wrestling with Bobby Heenan and do the pay-per-view reports. Everywhere he turned up, he'd be horrendous. Wild West Showdown, Maximum Drive, the WWF. Even his infomercials right now are of questionable quality thanks to the likes of other great pitchmen like Jim Caldwell, Anthony Sullivan, and even that Flex Tape guy. Sorry about going off on a little tangent about Fowler, but I always wonder why I never did induct him into game show garbage back when I was doing it. Maybe some other plan on some other time I could do it. So, we got the host now. We need some villains. So let's talk about the villains, otherwise known as the Outlaws.
Their fate's in the hands of deadly outlaws. Outlaws like Kid. He's wanted for murder and kidnapping, dead or alive. Silk, everybody wants her for bigamy, extortion, and assault. Three Fingers, wanted in 9 states for rustling, robbery, and murder.
You want to know how to set up your villains right on a show? You have them appear to be despicable human beings and you don't interview them at all. The Outlaws go by great names like Pharaoh, Three Fingers, Silk, Badger, Kid, Dog Breath, and the like. Most of them are from the rodeo circuits, but some are stunt people and actors. Dog Breath, for example, has a good run of appearing on direct-to-video action movies. Heck, they even poached contenders from American Gladiators, namely Johnny Jonkowski. Her gimmick on Gladiators was that she was a rodeo cowgirl and made it all the way to the semis in Season 3 before being defeated. She'd be rebranded as Chance and would turn out to be a pretty good outlaw. Other things that I enjoyed on the show were these vignettes involving some of the outlaws that were used to intro commercial breaks. Showed Dog Breath stealing some kid's money and Three Fingers taking out a bounty hunter and dragging him behind his horse to his presumed death. Now that's how you set up some bad guys. And you know what? That's what made the show feel real compared to Gladiators and Knights and Warriors. Gladiators was athletic competition. You know, the Gladiators were trying to elevate people. But this show, the Outlaws were so despicable, you wanted the contestants to beat them at certain events. And now, let's talk about those certain events. The 3 contestants, normally consisting of 2 men and 1 woman, would compete against each other in a variety of events that you'd see in westerns or at least have a western feel to it. These would wind up in 3 categories. The first category involves horses. In these events, the contestants have to ride on horseback and complete a task either by themselves or competing against each other head to head to head. For example, Pony Express has all 3 contestants ride around Broken Neck and pick up 3 bags of mail. Runaway Stagecoach is one of the outlaws kill the driver of a stagecoach, and it's up to the contestants to stop the stagecoach by hopping on the back of the coach from their horse and then climb to the front and pull the brake lever. One final event has the contestants dragged behind a horse and has to unhook themselves in the fastest time. Whoever completes these events the fastest wins the reward money. And you know what? I like these challenges as it's something you would see in a Western, namely the stagecoach event. This is basically how I'm going to judge these events. If I could see these events happening in a Western, then they are good events. These also require horse riding skills that most people don't have, which is also amazing to see on this show. The second category involves head-to-head competitions against the Outlaws. Some of the events involve climbing a water tower and pulling the fuse from some dynamite before it blows up while being pursued by the outlaw. They also have to cross a river on logs while an outlaw is blocking their path. Or my personal favorite, a one-on-one battle with an outlaw in a bar, trying to get them out of the bar so the bar people can get some peace and quiet. When I think of Westerns, these are the style of events in those movies and TV shows that are the most famous. Who wouldn't want to get into a fight with a nasty varmint and give him their comeuppance? You know what? I will admit that I'm not a fan of the river event. I'm assuming they wanted to do something akin to Hang Tough or Breakthrough from American Gladiators and couldn't do it in a Western scenario that would make sense. And to be honest, this fits more with Kateshi's Castle than Wild West Showdown. The third category is the shootout. One event, which is like a gigantic version of Assault from Gladiators, has the contestants go down the town street and try to get to the safe zone without getting hit by the outlaws' bullets. In this event, though, the contestants can earn bonus cash if they manage to hit the outlaws to the tune of $50 per outlaw hit. Contestants that make it to the end in the fastest time without getting hit wins. Now, this is the event to showcase. Shootouts are always the most exciting part of Westerns, and this just makes it even more exciting. So let's talk about the payout structure. The first two events are worth $100, the next two are worth $150, and the last one is usually worth $200, with the shootout usually in spot 3 or 4. Contestants who make the most reward money wins the game and heads to the final showdown for the big reward of $5,000 Union dollars. It's a fair payout structure, especially with the bonus money being available in the shootout event. The final showdown has the contestants go up against 4 outlaws and the clock. Here, the contestant must make their way around town, gunning down outlaws who are trying to gun you down. To do this, they must climb up rooftops, ride on ladders, going down the telegraph line, and riding on their horse out of town with the sack of money. If the contestant survives, they get $1,000. If they manage to do it all in under 2 minutes, they win the grand prize of $5,000. It's very action-packed, much like the Eliminator, and you're generally rooting for the champion to clean up the town. With all the love I've been given the show, it's no secret that I just flat-out love this variant of Gladiators. It all just works and makes sense, with one notable exception of Joe Fowler. The Outlaws have to look like they are evil and want to stop you from winning, Alex Cord is fantastic as West, and moving the game along with his commentary. The atmosphere is just oozing like it was with Legends of the Hidden Temple, and I just love it. I want more of this, I really do. But it kinda wasn't meant to be. So, what happened besides Fowler stinking up the airwaves when he was doing commentary? Well, remember back when I said that American Gladiators and its variants and game shows in general weren't very popular around this time? Especially on weekend TV. Now, this debuted in October of 1994, so it was going up against Major League Football, college football, well, the NFL, college football, and also this slew of great shows, Star Trek, both Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. You have Hercules, you have Xena, and all of these other fantastic shows and sporting events that are just taking up all of the time on networks. And with that being said, there's nothing that Wild West Showdown could do. It was kind of destined to be this short-lived buried treasure, as it would be canceled in March of 1995. It's a shame, because I would love to see all of these episodes of Wild West Showdown air somewhere. I mean, Samuel Goldwyn, I don't know who they're bought out by, but you know what? Maybe it could air on Hulu, or maybe on that same channel that airs MXC on Twitch, or something like that. I know Gladiators has a channel on Pluto TV. They could put all the other Samuel Goldwyn-esque shows, like Gladiators 2000s, and especially Wild West Showdown. Well, that's going to do it for me. I hope you enjoyed this 26 weeks or less. thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to shout at what show I should do next for 26 Weeks or Less, become a $10 Patreon backer at patreon.com/GameShowGumbo. I'm Cyndi Seidelman, giddy up, and bye-bye, y'all!